All right, so we are diving right into Hurricane Oscar today.
Okay.
You found the right place if you want to know about this swirling behemoth.
Yeah.
We've got the latest from WJXT News 4JAX.
Mm-hmm.
They're down in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
And trust me, you're not going to want to miss this one.
Okay.
Expert speaker, are you ready to unpack this thing?
I am. And you know what's so interesting about this particular hurricane? It's the way that it's dancing around the Caribbean. It could potentially impact several different areas.
Right.
In a very short time.
Yeah.
This is not a tropical vacation.
Yeah. No kidding.
You wouldn't want to be on.
Oscar's got places to be and people to see.
It's very dramatic.
It is dramatic. So let's talk about where this storm is headed.
Okay.
What kind of havoc it might wreak. Where are we at right now?
So Hurricane Oscar, according to the latest advisory, is swirling its way west-southwest at about 12 miles per hour, which doesn't sound like much. But when you think about a hurricane, that's actually pretty fast.
That's a sprinting hurricane.
It is.
And that does not give people a lot of time to prepare.
No, not when the first area in its sights is Great Inagua Island.
Right.
They're looking at a Category 1 hurricane potentially making landfall Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, can you imagine?
Oh my God.
You're sitting there, you're having your coffee,
Yeah.
bam,
Yeah.
hurricane.
That's your Sunday surprise.
What do you think people are going through right now?
Oh, man. You know, I would say it's probably a mix of controlled chaos and just like nervous anticipation.
Yeah.
On the one hand, you have the practical side of things,
Right.
boarding up the windows, tying things down,
Right.
getting ready, stocking up.
Yeah.
But emotionally, knowing a hurricane's coming at you,
Yeah.
that's got to be tough.
It's going to be so stressful, especially for it to be like a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you think Sunday morning, you think relaxing.
Right.
You think family. Maybe you're going to a place of worship, and it's like, yeah.
That is all thrown up in the air.
And we can't forget about the aftermath.
Yeah.
Even a Category 1 hurricane can pack a punch.
Totally. You're talking about potential power outages.
Mm-hmm.
You could have disrupted communication lines. You
Right.
might not be able to get essential services.
Right.
So it's important for people to be prepared for all of that as well as the storm itself.
Yeah. Like, oh, let me go get a gallon of water, but
Right, exactly. It's too late.
it's too late for that.
Way too late.
Okay, so Great Inagua bracing for impact.
Yes.
Where is Oscar headed next on this little island hopping adventure?
Well, after Great Inagua, Hurricane Oscar is headed toward Cuba.
Okay.
It's going to hit the northeastern coast later today, going into the evening.
Okay.
And you know that Cuba is no stranger to hurricanes.
Right, they're pros at this point.
They are.
Hmm.
But hitting that northeastern coast, that's different.
Okay, so what makes that part of Cuba so vulnerable? We need like the expert speaker breakdown. I got you. So think about it this way. The northeastern coast of Cuba is basically like a giant funnel for storm surge.
Oh, no.
So the way that the coastline is shaped there, it allows the water to pile up.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about a couple puddles, I'm talking major flooding,
Right.
potentially going very far inland.
Wow, so even a weakening hurricane could cause some serious damage with that kind of storm surge.
Exactly. And the other thing is that this region has a lot of smaller towns and villages that might not have the same level of hurricane preparedness
Right.
as a big city like Havana.
Oh, that makes sense.
They often bear the brunt of the storm,
Wow.
which is really tough.
It's tough to think about, those smaller communities facing a hurricane like that.
Yeah,
And it sounds like Oscar's not quite done yet.
not at all.
What happens after it leaves Cuba?
So even after it goes through Cuba,
Yeah.
it's projected to weaken to a tropical storm,
Okay.
but it could still pack a punch by the time it gets to the central Bahamas by Tuesday.
So even though it's downgraded to a tropical storm, it's still, a
Yeah.
force to be reckoned with.
Right, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
People might think, oh, tropical storm, that's nothing.
Yeah, just a little rain.
Right, but tropical storm force winds can still cause damage.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You can't just,
I've got a story. Okay, so
oh, yeah.
it might not be about me, but it's going to be relevant.
Okay.
Okay, so picture this. It's pouring rain.
Okay.
The wind is howling.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking tropical storm winds,
Okay.
not even a hurricane.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, bam!
What happened?
Giant oak tree in my neighbor's yard just snaps.
Oh my gosh.
And luckily nobody was hurt, but it was like, whoa.
That's a perfect example. You just never know.
You really don't. So what should people in the Bahamas be doing to prepare?
That's a great question.
even if it's just a tropical storm at that point?
Totally. So they need to stay vigilant. Don't let your guard down just because it's not a hurricane.
Okay.
Secure anything that could turn into a projectile. It's like patio furniture, garbage cans. You know those gnomes that everyone has in their garden?
Right, the gnomes.
The gnomes? Those can be dangerous. And of course, have your emergency kit ready to go.
Right.
Flashlight, batteries, first aid kit, food and water.
It's like packing for a camping trip.
It is. Except you can't reschedule it if the weather's bad.
That's very true. And let's not forget about the wind.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking 80-mile-per-hour winds.
80 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, that's as fast as a cheetah can run.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't want to get in a race with Oscar.
Me neither.
So what kind of damage can that much wind actually cause?
Oh, it can do a lot.
Yeah.
You see tree limbs breaking off, trees being uprooted, debris flying through the air.
Oh.
It can rip shingles off roofs, tear down signs, even damage weaker structures.
Like a disaster movie.
It really is, and it shows that even though it's weakening, it can still be really dangerous.
So for our listener, what's the one thing they should take away from all of this? So for our listener, what's the one thing they should take away from all of this?
You know, I think the biggest thing is just respecting the storm.
Okay.
Even when it's weakening.
Yeah.
Like, don't let your guard down just because it's not a hurricane anymore.
Right.
It's still dangerous.
Yeah, don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
What's your advice for somebody who really wants to stay ahead of the curve with this storm?
Stay informed.
Okay.
Look at those official forecasts and pay attention. Don't just read the headline.
Right.
Really understand what they're saying about storm surge, about flooding.
It's not just about knowing if you need an umbrella.
Right. It's serious stuff.
It is serious.
And, you know, if you're in an area that might be affected,
Yeah.
check your emergency plan, make sure you have a kit ready to go.
Great advice.
Yeah.
It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Especially when it comes to weather like this. Well, there you have it, folks, our deep dive into Hurricane Oscar. Hopefully you learned something today, and stay safe out there.